I love the arts obsessively, but at the end of the world, I don't give a ish. Why we ain't farming? A deadly flu hits and only about 1% of the population survives. And you mean to tell me all the actors live? What's up? It's Nikki. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be reviewing the HBO Max miniseries Station 11, which follows survivors of a deadly flu. This miniseries is a post-apocalyptic drama that has a major focus on the arts. Does that hit or does that miss? Now, I thought the score was really interesting. I loved the Christmas music in the background during the hospital scene when we meet one of our major characters, Jevon, when we meet his sister. I loved the opening score of episode 4 with the sound of like the knives sharpening. I think that's what that sound was. The score throughout this miniseries was just so freaking interesting. I really liked it, as well as the score at the end of episode 4 with the sound of the lighter. Just so interesting. The music throughout was so exciting, very well placed. Even Frank rapping was great. I love that scene. Now, TLC Creep in episode 9, that was an odd placement for me. That didn't fit. A Tribe Called Quest, though, at the end of that episode, great placement. For the most part, though, great music choices and music placement. I also really like the intricacies of the plot, how it slowly peeled back, how in the end we see how all the characters end up being connected. And I found that really interesting, given the fact that adult Kristen says nobody finds anyone from before. So what are the odds that she would find Arthur's son and Arthur's best friend? I loved how Kirsten finds the conductor after she loses Jevon. Then she ends up finding Jevon after losing the conductor. I don't know. I really like that. I like that. This is definitely a very well thought out series. However, for me, it just was not executed well. It was kind of boring. It was not exciting. This is a very character-driven story, but the characters are just not compelling. I'm sorry. So the story begins with Jevon as our central character. Now, I like Jevon. When we meet him, he is at a play with his girlfriend where he ends up being the only person in the audience who notices, or backstage, who notices one of the actors is having a heart attack. Jevon ends up jumping up on the stage to help, I guess, because he's not a doctor. He didn't really know what he was doing. Backstage, Jevon meets a kid who is an actor in the play, Kirsten, and she ends up being our central character. Now, the apocalypse-causing flu has not quite hit at this point to the mass public yet. The only emergency is Arthur, the actor who had the heart attack. But somehow, the person responsible for Kirsten, a 8-year-old little girl, and all responsible adults involved in the play who sees this little girl on a regular basis, they just forget about her. I thought that was really odd and a little far-fetched. Like, there's no grand pandemic yet. So Jevon ends up taking the little girl home, but once they get to her house, no one is there. The parents aren't home, even though their 8-year-old child is out and should be coming home. The parents didn't send a family friend, nobody, like, to see about their daughter. I thought it was weird. Jevon ends up taking the little girl with him because Tanya, the woman responsible for the little girl, has her house key. So she can't even get in the house. He couldn't just leave the little girl sitting on the steps in the dang snow. So we find out later that Kirsten's parents died from the flu. But this still doesn't explain things. Child, how fast does the flu hit? Were the parents already sick when Kristen went to the play? Because why didn't we make accommodations for our child? Like, if we're sick of going to the hospital, why didn't we make accommodations on our way to the hospital? I don't know. This just didn't make much sense to me. Unless the parents just dropped dead out the blue from the flu, it didn't make any sense. But Javon's sister, who is a nurse, calls and warns him that the news is not telling the truth. This flu is deadly, and for him to get to their brother Frank's apartment and board themselves inside and to stay away from other people. Now, when Javon and Kristen get to the brother's apartment, some girl tries to get inside of the freight elevator with him. Now, Javon tries to be nice. Like, look, girl, ain't no room. Because he does have like 50 grocery carts of stuff. But she kind of is pushy, like, oh, I could fit, like, let me get on in there. But child, he ends up just being rude. Closing the mother freaking door. But I was not, like, against him on that. I didn't feel bad. Like, my G, I would have did the same thing. My life is on the line, child. I ain't got no time for pleasantries. I'm sorry. I don't. And I got to protect this little girl. I'm going to have to just be rude. Now, one thing I really did not like was the constant time jumps with no real rhyme or reason or order. I was so unclear on the order of events. In one flashback scene, one of the characters says he's been sober, and then we jump to the present, then we jump to the past again, and that same character is drinking. I was like, bro, did you get sober? Like, I was so confused. I hated how confusing the time jumps were. Kid Kristen meets a lady called the conductor. But at that point, I was like, wait, where's Javon and Frank? What happened to them? I don't like stuff like that. It didn't work for me. Kristen was a kid, then all of a sudden we see adult her. I was like, okay. Like, I don't even know what happened. Now, episode 1 started off promising. Episode 2 threw me off. We time jump to the present. It's the apocalypse. The modern world has ended. And we're introduced to a group called the Traveling Symphony. Now, I was confused. I was like, is the flu gone? Are all the humans that's left immune? I was into the show until we got here. Some guy is auditioning to be an actor in the Traveling Symphony. I was like, what the heck are we doing? Why are we auditioning for a play at the end of the goddamn world? I just did not get it. All the stuff with this dang play was my least favorite part and the biggest annoyance for me, but it was a huge part of the series, and that just really dropped it down for me. In the apocalypse, I would be focused on shelter, food, protection from the elements, protection from danger, not a goddamn play. Y'all, they were literally on my last nerves about this dang play. The central point of this, I guess, I deduce, is this whole the show must go on mentality. But the fact that it's the end of the world, child, my nigga, I don't give a issue about a play. This group travels around and performs this play at different communities. Why? I guess at the end of the world, you ain't got nothing else to do. Is that why? Nigga, I don't want to see the dang play. How are these niggas surviving on the road? How are they eating? Bathing? There's no running water. What about medicine? Okay, so I'll deduce that when they go to these communities, it's like a barter situation. They didn't tell us, but I'ma just assume. You perform and we trade that for goods. But it's the end of the world. I am not giving away goods to see a dang play. I love the arts obsessively, but at the end of the world, I don't give a ish. Why we ain't farming? A deadly flu hits and only about 1% of the population survives. And you mean to tell me all the actors live? Okay. The Traveling Symphony and everybody in this series talking about this dang play, it felt so foolish. And it felt like such a joke to me. When they get to the community at the airport, we get real ish. Like, we got real issues to deal with. But people keep saying lines like, after the play. We've never seen a play. Why is this play so dang important? What about regular sickness? Forget the flu, but regular sickness and disease. What about harsh weather? What about clean water? You got no running water. Infection and all that ish that comes from not being able to bathe and keep open wounds and stuff like that clean. Touching stuff with dirty hands because you ain't got no water to wash your hands and then eating it. I mean, even a simple cut can get infected if you can't keep it clean. Just all the perils of living in a post-apocalyptic world. And we focus on a mother freaking play. Y'all, I could not. All the stuff with Hamlet and theater, it was just all going over my head, I guess. I didn't get it. Why do we care about a stage play when the world ends? Y'all, this was killing me. It was killing me as I was watching. It was super frustrating for me, and I just could not take nothing seriously. Like, y'all worried about a motherfucking play. I can't take this seriously. One girl with a traveling symphony, I think her name was Alex, short-haired girl. She was upset. Talking about she wanted to be the lead just once. My nigga, it's the end of the world. Like, I can't reiterate that enough. And the chick, Alex, I felt like she was out of her mind. She was off. She was a Looney Tune child. I just kept feeling like, what is up with this girl? When they get to the airport community and adult Kirsten is like she's talking to them and telling them, look, we prisoners here. They got barbed wire. They won't let us see the conductor lady who had a heart attack, so they had her locked somewhere. We need to get out of here. And this Looney Tune is gung-ho saying they've never seen a play. We have to do the play. I was like, child, why is she so hyped about the dang play? Y'all, I was thinking of talking about the damn play. If I heard the word play one more time, like, I was about to die. The conductor, who is basically the leader of the traveling symphony, tells Kirsten, who sneaks to go see her, don't tell them I'm dead until after the play. Child, I about fell out. I just kept screaming, the play, F the play. I felt like I was out of the loop or something with the actors and this play, the theater-ish. I mean, does it give them a sense of normalcy or something? Like, I wasn't connecting the dots. I just did not get it. I mean, I get the theme of what I felt was the show must go on theme. Meaning, purpose. Yes, we lost everyone we know and love. Yes, the world ended, but we have to keep moving forward. Okay, great, fine. But why are we putting on a stage play at the end of the motherfucking world? I just don't get it. Y'all, what am I missing? We should be focused on basic survival and community. That's what I would think. So much in this series, in my opinion, was just odd. I kept feeling like all the odd-ish was supposed to have some kind of meaning that was just consistently going over my head. Because I didn't get it. It was just odd. I thought episode 1 was slowly paced, but it was an interesting hook. It did well setting things up. But the problem is, nothing went anywhere. This series was insanely boring and mundane. I'm sorry. And it was not boring because it's character driven. It was boring because the characters were simply not compelling or engaging. I was not interested in these characters in the slightest. Apparently everybody loved Arthur, but I did not see the appeal. We did time jumps to all kind of meaningless conversations. Time jump to Arthur and Clark having a random conversation. But I never understood, like, why are we supposed to care about the dynamics between Arthur and Clark? Why are we supposed to care about their friendship? The writers never made me care. I didn't care about this little stupid argument. The dialogue was just not engaging. It was boring. It felt tedious. On episode 5, I think it was, I was dying. On the episode. I was like, why the hell are we following Clark? It was so freaking boring and so slowly paced. The crowd in the airport shouting, "We family now" or something. Nigga, I don't know y'all. Like, that would have made more sense when we was in there for like a week and bonding. The F. Jerry Mercer chant with the music, it was odd. It felt like they was only in there for a few hours. Then y'all talking about solar panels did not feel like the right moment to try and kiss somebody. That was odd. Child, I was watching this episode like, okay, I know there gotta be a point to this long, boring, mundane-ass airport narrative, but I am not seeing it. But this is when we discover that the prophet is actually Arthur and Elizabeth's son, Tyler. Elizabeth and Tyler were on the plane with Clark and at the airport. Y'all all end up at the airport when the world pretty much goes. One plane does not let the passengers off because they are infected, but Tyler discovers a survivor whom he feels must be immune because they're not dead. They was on a plane with infected people and they still alive. But everyone in the airport panics and they kill the survivor. So Tyler ends up lighting the plane on fire and we think he burned alive in the fire. I did not need this tedious ass, boring ass episode for y'all to reveal that to me. I did not care about the relationship drama between Miranda and Arthur. I did not care about the relationship drama between Miranda and Arthur. I did not care about the complicated friendship of Arthur and Clark. I did not care about Arthur being interwoven into everybody. I just did not care. The writers didn't make me care. I was not invested in this character study because these just were not interesting characters. It was not great dialogue. The dialogue felt a little unnatural. This was not engaging storytelling. I feel like there's so much, but it's all just nothing. What was the point of all the many mundane, tedious conversations? The storytelling did not feel cohesive. I was interested and intrigued with the Frank, Javon, Kid, Kirsten story and Miranda's story outside of her and Arthur. But it was just all too convoluted and it wasn't engaging, and the jumping back and forth was throwing me off and getting me out of the tone of the scene, and the dialogue felt really unnatural. I really like Kid Tyler and Adult Tyler, aka the Prophet. Very interesting character. Great actors who played both. I really, really love Tyler's speech in the plane talking to Kirsten about what happened. Great scene. Great dialogue. This was interesting. This was compelling. Another standout scene was when we find out that Miranda called the pilot of that grounded plane at the airport to not let anyone off because they're infected. Amazing scene. Great freaking acting. This was engaging. I was tearing up during her phone call, child, with the pilot. Top tier acting. Great dialogue. Okay, so questions I am left with at the end of this miniseries. Kid Kirsten asks how many days till Christmas, but she has a working cell phone. Don't cell phones show the date and have a calendar? Why did she have to ask how many days it was till Christmas? Why she couldn't just open her phone? Miranda got a call about the flu and to get out of Asia. Who was the voice on the phone? And I thought she was like doing that. I thought she was getting out of Asia when we see her get on the boat or whatever. But then she in the pitch meeting. Why are we in the pitch meeting when we know the world is coming to an end? We know the world is ending from this flu, but we're in the pitch meeting. Why was she getting out of Asia, but then back in Asia dying of the flu? Once she found out Arthur was dead, did she just change her mind and not leave Asia? I'm really confused on that. Y'all, what did I miss? What kind of illness requires a month-long quarantine, child? Now, I ain't no scientist or biologist or nothing, but that sounds odd. The conductor had a special eyeglass prescription 20 years after the world ended. You have to get new glasses like every few years. Were they making eyeglasses at the end of the world? Or did I miss something? I was spacing a bit, but they said something about the conductor and her prescription. I thought they were talking about glasses. But y'all, what did I miss? Did I get that wrong? When the stranger comes into Frank's apartment saying, leave, I live here now, why did he pass all the other apartments? Why did he come up floors, past apartments, and walk all the way to the end of the hall, past apartments, to the one apartment already occupied with people? Why did they age the black guy at the airport to look like a damn werewolf child? Why did Clark say they know where we are, they could lead others here? Nigga, it's a huge behind airport. How hidden could it be? Why did Clark say it's time for Tyler and Elizabeth to go, but then Elizabeth never goes? She ends up staying there for 20 years. What was the point of that? Why did Jevon and Dead Frank stare at each other in silence for like 5 minutes? What was that scene? Why was Tyler and his mama reciting some goddamn Hamlet while he was handcuffed? What happened with the poison Kirsten got shot with? Was it poison that's not deadly? I thought all poison was deadly. Am I wrong? Why was the black guy with the traveling symphony face like he was painted black? Why was the black guy face painted black? Y'all, what am I missing? Why did Alex give the prophet a knife before he went on stage? Y'all, what was up with Alex? Clark, Elizabeth, and Tyler just so happened to know all the lines to the day play that they didn't know they was in until the day before the play. And I get that the two of them was actors, but they remember the words, all the words to the play from 20 years. How come when Kirsten asks Elizabeth what did she lose, she says the museum. But then she tells Tyler she hated that place, referring to the museum. I didn't understand that. Why did Elizabeth leave her home for 20 years with nothing but a small behind book bag? That's all you got? That's all your stuff? When Tyler blows up the tower, didn't we see a bunch of people outside the airport in the grass? Was I tripping? What happened to those people? Was that the kids? Why were actors the most important group for us to follow in the apocalypse? Is this one of those series that's only for smart audiences and anyone who doesn't get it is dumb? At the end of this series, I just felt confused and empty and like I wasted my motherfucking life. What was the point, child? What did the characters accomplish? What was the point of us following these characters? What did they do? I did like all the actors. Very talented. Great caliber of acting. Except the girl who played adult Kirsten. I didn't like her in Terminator Dark Fate either. I just don't like the actress. I don't know. I don't like her. I think this was probably the most disappointing HBO series I have ever seen. Definitely some good elements. Definitely some great ideas. But this was just really lacking for me. It was so boring in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like my content, please make sure you support my channel. Like this video. Guys, comment down below. Let me know your opinions on the Station 11 miniseries. Did you agree with my take or did you disagree? Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification for more TV show reviews and movie reviews. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.